Hi, I'm Nicola Cairncross, and you're listening to the Money Gym podcast, where I interview successful entrepreneurs and investors and ask them if they could go back in time and give their younger selves one big tip about money, what would it be? I really hope you enjoy the show. Former accountant to some household name restaurant stars, property investor and businesswoman Judith Morgan has previously owned a travel agent, a cafe, and a cleaning biz franchise. She had a spell as one of my clients in the Money Gym and then became my business partner. We remain great friends and co-host a weekly podcast called Own It, Your Life and Your Business. You can find us over at ownitthepodcast.com. Judith started her own accountancy business when she was 22 and sold it 20 years later for a six-figure sum. Judith's role in the accountancy business was to start and grow the business, attract clients, recruit and manage staff, and help and support her own business clients with the same issues, particularly their finances. She was then fortunate to enjoy part-time finance director roles and relationships, often for many years, with UK entrepreneurs and small businesses, including an incredibly successful events organising business. Judith says her main reason in life is to empower, inspire and uplift, so that running your own business and having a wonderful life becomes lighter and easier, and your success and happiness come faster. Let's find out what she's got to say on the subject of your money, shall we? So what thing you notice other entrepreneurs that you coach doing wrong around business money? And, that can be a practical thing or a psychological thing. And what's the most important thing you'd like to share with a new entrepreneur around your business money?
Okay, so I think most people ignore it. They don't have any systems for it at all because they're frightened of it, and they're worried that if they start looking at it, it'll be worse than they even fear it is. And what they generally discover is it's not as bad as they fear it is.
Yeah, so they're hallucinating a disaster scenario.
Yeah. And so, the first step is to try and get them to monitor it in some way or another. What you measure improves, and
yes.
We can measure it in any way you like. We don't even have to measure it in pounds and pence. We can measure it in visitors or clients or likes, or there's millions of ways of monitoring money. We don't have to do it in money necessarily if that freaks you. So I've just got to gently persuade them at the beginning to be monitoring something. And what I usually do in the very first session with them is I have this concept of we're going to climb Everest. And first of all, we're going to go to base camp. Because when you make an assault on Mount Everest, you all go up to base camp and you pitch your tents and you have your supplies there and you've got your backup and da-da-da-da-da. And actually, base camp's not a bad place to be. You might decide that base camp is as far as you want to go. How much do you need to earn at base camp to pay all your bills? And you'd be surprised about how many people who don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah,
so, sometimes a new client will say to me, last week a new client said to me, somebody else ticked me off that you were going to ask me that question. So they were ready in advance. But, we need around 1,000 sums of money that you will be in financial integrity if we bring that in. And when we get that, you're at base camp. Then you can decide, is this enough or should we go further up the mountain? So we've got to measure that, because otherwise how will we know when we're there?
Yes, and do you find that a lot of people, that base camp figure is a lot bigger than it needs to be?
Yes, I do. Yeah, they don't understand. How low can you go is what I call it, because, the lower you can go, the less likelihood there is of you having to go back to work or get a part-time job you hate.
And you actually downsized your own life quite dramatically at one point. I remember when you moved out from that gorgeous flat in the Docklands and moved into one of your own properties because you wanted
Given what's happened in the last 8 years, Nicola, you'd be mad not to, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the fact that I live on a very, very small amount of money every month, because it means I don't have to earn so much to be comfortable. And it also means that I think downsizing takes away a lot of the fear of the fear of scarcity, because if you're living lean, as I call it,
yes,
then nothing can be taken away, because you've.
No, I love it. Love the concept of living lean. I think that's absolutely perfect. And who wants stuff anymore?
Yeah. Well, Sarah's got her belongings down to one backpack, so it's quite impressive,
yes.
Really, all around.
Yeah. Deeply envious.
Yeah. Well, do you remember there was a spate of internet marketers, wasn't there, who sold everything and
yes,
and reduced all their belongings down from the big mansions down to a backpack. It was frighteningly funny.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So you get them to base camp, you get them to decide what the minimum they need to live on is, and then when they get to, so you just keep them focused on getting to that point.
Well, we try and simplify it. So do you want thousands of difference of little bits, or do you want, 10, do you want to sell 10 monthly memberships at £6 to make 60 quid, or do you want, do you know what I mean? We're looking at what's the easiest way of making the base camp money.
Yeah, and you're always very keen on big sums of money. I do recall that.
I am. I'm changing my mind slightly. I just don't like the slow way to anything.
Yeah.
I want the easy way to everywhere, really. Why make it complicated? Their lives are quite complicated enough already, quite frankly.
I remember when I was first taught how to manage a weekly cash flow by our mutual friends, and I exasperated them because I kept overcomplicating everything. And now things are very simple. It's through not entirely through choice. In about 5 years ago, but I relish that simplicity now. I really do.
Yes, so do I.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, so then when they're at base camp and you're working out how they're going to make their money, do you then help them monitor it, or do they come to you for accountability, or do you expect your clients to be grown-ups?
I do the latter. I think, generally nobody ever brings anything to a coaching call that's working right. They only bring what's wrong. And all the time it's in problem-solving mode, really. And I think actually the main benefit I bring is making it feel easier, because if it feels easier, you can do it. Yeah. They tend to come with heads full of, why I can't and how difficult it is for me and poor me and I've got so much to do. And we just try and strip it away to what have you really got to do here? What's really important? It's very important to me they have a life. Nicola, a lot of my clients are women in their 30s, let's say, with a toddler or two.
Yeah.
And frankly, they need to be working in six weeks chunks before half term, after half term, 3 times a year. And they need to be off in the school holidays because they can't achieve anything with somebody around their knees. Why try? Have a lovely, lovely, lovely time with your children, until they don't want to be with you anymore. And then you've got plenty of time to throw yourself at the business.
Yes, I can say that happens around 15 to 16. And
if then, by about 13, they don't want to go on holiday with you. They only want you to fetch them from school, So I have been with women long enough to see them achieve almost nothing at all because of the family commitments, to the time when they can focus on them now because the kids have gone to university or something like that.
Yeah. So leaving the subject of money now, then, what one thing would you say is absolutely crucial for the new entrepreneur to master?
Well, this is where I was coming to the cash flow game, actually, because when they come to that, they see what their relationship is with money, how broken it is. It's I call it financial coaching because that's what it is now. It's not a game. It's so much more than a game. It's about how am I with money? How is that person across the other side of the table with money? Are they better at money than I am? How do I cut my nose off to spite my face? How can I make more by partnering up with other people? What tricks am I missing? This is, I write about it often. It is the best day's work I ever do. It's absolutely exhausting, but it is the most valuable day's work. I do it every month now. It's that valuable to somebody to observe their relationship with money. And in the morning, I teach it by the rules. They're all learning the rules. They're all getting to know that they're so much better with money and maths than they could possibly imagine. Most of them don't even use a calculator. They're so good. And they sit down at the table and they say, I'm crap with money, and they don't understand anything for the first 20 minutes. And they're in a real panic, and their brains are screaming at them, I can't do this, I can't do this. By lunchtime, they've got it. In the afternoon, they're acing it. They can practice different behaviours. I just think it is the most wonderful thing. Tears, laughter, learning. It's quite an intimate thing, only 6 players at a time. It's so valuable in changing the way my clients are with their money, getting them to notice their thinking and their habits and watching others and practicing out new ways.
Yeah, and I love the fact that with the cash flow 101, you have a balance sheet and an income and an assets section on it, and every time you make a new deal or you get more money in or whatever, you have to recalculate it all. And most people aren't taught about assets and liabilities at school, are they?
No, but they get it really quickly. They get it by lunchtime. Yeah. And the point I have to make to them, they go, what do I do here? I go, you do this, and you do this, and you do this, just like real life. They seem to think that the game somehow is different. So, for instance, you buy a property in the game, you've got income, you've got expenses, you've got an asset, and you've got a liability, just like real life. So it's a great way of teaching them that whatever you do, it's not a game. It's really not a game. It's a metaphor, and you can translate your learning in the game into real life.
Yeah, I love it because of the practicality side of it and the emotional side. If people can't get to one of your games, Judith, is there still an online cash flow 101?
I believe there is. Yeah, I believe there is. You are playing by yourself, which is a bit tragic, but I believe you can play it online. And actually, wherever you are, it's worth putting into Google cash flow game in Manchester or Birmingham or New York. I bet they play them all over the world, Nicola.
Yeah, they probably do, and it is great fun, and you meet all sorts of amazing people who you can then talk to about money, because let's face it, not many of your actual friends are very willing to open up about cash, but if you're playing with a bunch of people locally, then you can always, that's your mastermind, your first mastermind group right there.
I totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree. I think wherever you're playing it in the world, try and get a group of 6 to play it more than once. Commit to playing once a month for a year and treat them as your mastermind team. I think that's absolutely right.
You've been listening to Nicola Cairncross on the Money Gym podcast. If you'd like to find out more about the Money Gym and how we can help you become more financially intelligent, just come on over to themoneygym.com. We'll see you over there.